Terry Wildemann, understanding how to achieve heart-centered success in business and life has been a lifelong quest. Her studies and certifications in the areas of executive and co-act coaching, business, interpersonal communications, stress release, holistic health, and the law of attraction merged with her dynamic world-class professional development training, coaching, and speaking skills have led her to helping entrepreneurs and professionals to transform their business lives. I'm looking forward to the show. Hello, Terry, and a warm welcome to our
Hello,
show.
how are you?
I'm fine. I'm happy to hear your voice. Although I do
I'm
listen
happy
to
to
your
hear yours too.
I do hear the radio. You do have a radio show. It's, in fact, you can tell people it's a great show. It's really early for me to be listening to because I'm in the California area. But you do
hmm
have a great show. Can you tell us what that show is, just real quick? Because I
Well,
like
it's
that show.
called Coffee with Terry, and it's at 1 p.m. on Tuesdays Eastern Standard Time. And actually, we're on a hiatus right now. We're starting again in March, and it's the tagline is where business and spirituality meet. And
Right.
what's so fantastic about it is most of the people that I've interviewed have been business people. A lot of them are corporate people who have really found their calling, really shifted into what it is that they're meant to do. And those are the kinds of folks I love to interview. And we have a fantastic time.
Yeah, I've heard. I listened to some of the shows. The woman in Spain. In fact, want. I did my research on your show, and I recently had Michael on.
Yes, Loge.
Yeah, yes, he was on the show a couple months ago, I think. He did. I interviewed him. I noticed that you're also very connected with him, which is fantastic.
Very
But
much
Terry,
so.
could you also? I thought we'd start out maybe, if you don't mind. Can you tell us about your extensive, what I see is extensive background, and also the clients that you have worked with?
Sure. Well, my passion is working with entrepreneurs who keep self-sabotaging themselves. And the reason why I love working with these kind of folks is yours truly used to be one of them. And sometimes I still self-sabotage myself. I mean, we're human, right? And what I have done is in my extensive background, as you call it, is everything that I have done, every certification that I have earned, everything that I have studied has been on a quest for myself personally, whether it's being licensed as a heart math provider with the Heart Math Institute, or learning communication skills by getting a certification as a professional behavior analyst with TTI, or getting certified with Michael Auger as a certified law of attraction coach. And the list goes on and on and on and on. And everything that I focus on and learn or get certified in is to help me first so that I can help my tribe. I can help the people who I feel very called to help and the people who show up at my door. So, what got me into all of this, frankly, especially into holistic health, because I am a Reiki master, I am an intuitive and an EFT coach. What got me into this, where my kids got really sick, I was very, very sick. And Western medicine, which I do bow to, it is, I still use it, wasn't doing well for my children. So I did go into holistic health and started studying it. And that's what led me down the path of merging holistic practice with my business practices and professional development training. So that's what got me into everything that I'm doing now.
Well, I agree with what you were saying is self-sabotage. I mean, I'm doing that every day. But it's like with me as well. I do what I do because I must. It's like because of my stuff I've gone through, it's a lot better when you're helping people that you have no judgment on, and it's not that easy. I mean, it's easy for me to say, for some people, so you're trained
hmm
helping them, but you've
Yes.
been
Yes.
there. So there's a few things I've done. I love your website and everything. In fact, everybody, I'll be talking about that in the show, but also it's listed. But I was going through some of your blogs, and I was reading everything about what you do because I'm really interested in right now, especially in the time we're in spirituality and business, or business and spirituality, whatever you want to call it, but
hmm
whichever way. But it's so important, I think, to a lot more people than ever right now because we've made it. The Mayans let us live.
Well, that's right. And, you know, business is changing, whether we like it or not. And The old days of leaving your emotions and at the door, that just doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work. We are our emotions. Our emotions drive everything that we do, from whether we want to be a task focused individual or whether we're a people person. Our emotions drive all of our behaviors. And those emotions create our perspectives. So when we're creating our vibes, we create our own vibes. We attract to ourselves those things that we're vibrating. And it's so important to realize in business that if we're focused on the negative, that's the stuff we're attractive. If we're focused on the positive, that's the stuff we're going to attract. And there are energy blocks. I mean, I have very positive people in my life. However, they may not be financially secure because they've got issues around money. So it's about clearing out those money issues to help them shift into more positivity in their lives. So when you merge, when you understand that spirituality, and please be clear, I'm not talking about religion. I'm
Hmm.
talking about spirituality, which is heart centered, which is what I call a thrill leadership. And thrill stands for trust, honor, respect, integrity, loyalty, and love of fellow man.
Hmm.
When you operate from those values, it becomes a very spiritual practice because you're honoring yourself and you're honoring others. And when leaders and managers get that, that's where the magic happens in the workplace.
Yes, and it's interesting because it doesn't have, this show title that which I did take from your, which I did take from you, but we're not just talking about people that are in the spiritual business. We're talking about everybody, corporations,
That's
everybody.
right.
And that to me, don't you think, like, because I come from a family, entrepreneurship family, that a long time ago there was a little bit more integrity going on, and they didn't call it spirituality.
That's right.
People, and we got away from that and the greed and all the stuff that happened. So we're coming back to a place where actually it was somewhat in the 60s going on, but now we got away from. So now it's funny how things come around full circle, isn't it? So
Yep.
right now more than ever. So we're talking about anybody in any. I want to make sure that everybody here knows this. It doesn't matter what business. This is not just about being a psychic business or being, a Reiki master or being a healer. It's about every company, corporation, business, and or even solo. I'd like to talk about that solo entrepreneur
Hmm.
world too as well. But this is what you do, and come in and you have had your background with your clients. You worked with the military and all.
That's
I
right.
mean, in fact, did you already tell us all about who you've been?
No, no, I haven't.
Yeah, would you tell everybody about that? Because you
Sure,
have.
sure, sure. Well, with the military, you brought that up. I did a lot of outplacement training with military professionals, and these military folks are either separating or retiring from the Navy. We are a military family. My husband retired from the military. My daughter is currently in the military, and she's serving on the USS Cole, which I'm very proud of that she's doing. And they just got back from deployment. So the military has been a big part of my life. And living here where I am now, I've trained over 10,000 folks, and that's not including people in other cities that we've lived in. And these were all military types who are leaving the military and going into the civilian world. However, my love is actually working with professionals and entrepreneurs and helping professionals and entrepreneurs really work with all sides of themselves, whether it's the energetic, the practical, the intuitive, spiritual, tactical, logical, and the emotional. It's called the epistle system. So when you work on all of those levels, it just works whether you're in the banking industry, and I've done a lot of work with the banking industry, a lot of work with other government agencies. I've done a lot of work. I just am working with a government contractor right now who had an employee who they were about to fire after 20 years. I have a reputation of being the coach of last resort, and I was able to actually turn this person around. They gave me a 3-month window. I turned him around so dramatically, he has become a model employee. using all the tools in my toolkit. So it's people like that that I absolutely love working with because what we find is this specific gentleman, he was like a sponge. He knew his job was on the line. And I did the heart math, I did the EFT, we did the tapping, we did the law of attraction stuff. Let me tell you, we did it all. And in 3 weeks, I had him turned around. So, in working with the clients that I serve, it doesn't really matter what background they have. It's more of whether or not they're willing to take a good look at themselves, look in the mirror, and allow me to take them deep to clear out what I call, let's clear out the crap. Let's get past all this stuff. And some of my clients are very special, they're professionals. They know that I'm a medium. They know that I am intuitively connected because I also work with the Call of the Rose and Archangel Michael and my own personal guide, Lexter. So when I work with that, and I don't tell that to everybody, by the way, some of the executives who come to me, there's no way I'm going to mention that.
Yeah,
However,
no,
I
that's
still,
right.
there's no way. However, I still use all those tools. And, occasionally I hear this, ask this question, ask that question, or, something will happen where they are guiding me from the other side as to where to take this specific individual. So it's a blast. I
Well,
have so much fun.
it's interesting because it means to me what I hear you saying is also that you took this individual, but also it had to do with the company willing to be open for you to come in and do this instead of letting them go, right?
Well, you're absolutely right. And the HR person, I will take my hat off to the HR director. She knew all about EFT, and she herself was very spiritual. So she knew that I combined very practical, logical, and tactical skills along with the other. And it does create a very magical combination. It's an alchemy.
Yeah.
It's an alchemy that's created. And it within that alchemy, I create results for these professionals who are often lacking in an understanding of the intuitive part. They really have a hard time making decisions. I teach them how to tap into the heart. I teach them how to tap into their intuition. I teach them to go to that deep place so that they're using the heart brain as well as the logical, practical brain that's in their head.
I think that's fantastic, and more so fantastic that there's company and corporations and big, the bigger now for like I said now knowing that that's important that they're seeing this as being really great. And like I said, instead of letting someone just go and firing them or
Mm-hmm.
getting rid of them, they're
Mm-hmm.
open to every. I like that. It's almost like because that really makes a big difference. That be people at the higher ends, higher at the top, coming to you,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, and asking, because people. I remember I was being raised. People work not for you. My dad used to say they don't work for you. You work with each other,
That's right. That's right.
and that's
And,
and that's
and it's a
integrity.
big
Yeah.
difference when you have that kind of mindset,
Yes.
you know?
So, I was reading, I wanted to ask you, this is interesting. Oh, I do want to ask you about how does, because for me, and I know others out there will identify with this as well as I have other co-hosts on here too as well. How does one create balance in the solopreneurship world? Because a lot of us work from our homes
Hmm.
and it can be sabotaging too.
Well, absolutely. Actually, I work from home. So believe me, I know all about it. And I had a colleague here. We were just working on the retreat that I'm offering in a few weeks, and we were just talking about the pitfalls of working from home, and not having other people work with you, because you can get into a rut. You don't go out and network. You end up working, you're in your pajamas, and sometimes you're working in your pajamas 3, 4, 5, and 6 days in a row. All of a sudden, you want to go out and network, and it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to wear? What am I going to do? I'm so comfortable, and it becomes a chore and a challenge to get yourself out there. So solopreneurs have to really wrap themselves around other people by joining chambers, by joining organizations, by getting out and being seen. Now, a lot of people say, well, I have an internet business. Even if you have an internet business, it is still critical to get your butt out of the house. And the reason for that is unless you have movement, you can get stuck and unclear with all the stuff that you have to do in front of you. When you get out, you take a walk, you go shopping, you go into you take a walk through the woods, you take a walk around the golf course, or whatever it is that you do. When you move your body, in coaching school, I went to CTI and we were taught about the geography of the body. When you move your body, every single part of your body has answers in it. Move it, an answer is going to come. Move it another direction, another answer is going to come. Whereas if you're constantly sitting still in front of the computer, your entire being becomes stagnant.
Yes. Also, I remember thinking, because I am at the computer a lot, at home,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I don't get out. And also about sitting in your pajamas. Isn't it a good idea to dress like I need to get dressed nicely before I sit down, or else I'm not any good either. Some people can do sit in their pajamas, but for my
Mm-hmm.
mindset, is that an important thing when you're on your own and working as at home? You should get dressed nicely.
I think you
Uh,
should. And when you say nicely, like I'm talking about, wearing a pair of jeans with a nice shirt, or
yeah,
I mean, I used to be an image consultant 25 years ago. That's what's actually started this practice of mine. And as an image consultant, I was dressed to the nines every single day, even when I worked from home.
right.
However, now 25 years moving forward, I dress more casually at home. However, the days that I find, and I'm going to be the first one to say, I'm comfortable in my PJs. I'm comfortable
Mm,
wearing pajama pants. However, the days I'm in my pajama pants, my work productivity is very different from the days I get up and I get dressed because it's approached differently.
right.
Your mindset is different and you see things from different perspectives. Your clothing have an energy and they
Mhm.
shift your energy to where you want it to be.
Yes, and I agree with that. That's why I can never. Well, I have to brush my teeth and put my little makeup. But I do have, I work more productively myself at being in an internet business. So I think that's really important for all our listeners out there to listen to that because I feel that it's a plus if you do. I'm not saying get dressed up in a suit, but being, like you said, not in your, some people can work, like I said, but there is a difference. And for me, I have found that out, and now you've just affirmed that. But
Yeah.
also I was reading your and I would love, if you don't mind, I would like,
That's
I
fine.
read a great blog of yours, and you wrote about an intuitive journey of listening and joy. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yes, 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 yes.
And that was, I read it, and it was fantastic because how it was written, but also could you share with it, because there was lessons that you gained on all this. Would you mind sharing that with us? Because I think that was
Okay,
very
let me go
interesting.
over to the blog because I want to make sure that I'm referring to the right article because some of those articles um, have been up there for a little
So,
bit. So
what
give me a
about
moment to get
Terry? What
there.
about
So,
working naked? I'm joking.
so what? I'm sorry.
Working naked at the computer. I'm joking. One of my
Oh, yeah.
co-hosts asked me about it. How about working
I,
naked? Is that? I'm
I don't
kidding.
know about Hey, to
I
each his
know.
own, as far as I'm concerned. If that brings your chimes, go for it.
I'm sorry, that's Brenda. Brenda, I had to ask because I thought it was
That's
appropriate.
okay. That's all right. I think it's great. If you live by yourself and you don't have to worry about people looking in the windows or you don't care, I mean, who cares as long as the productivity's there?
Yeah,
If the
exactly.
productivity's there and you can get it out, that's brilliant. And being naked helps you, hey, go for it. It's I think people need to do what my personal feeling is people truly have to do what's right for them. And when they do what's right for them, that's when the magic happens. And instead of doing, if they do something that somebody else asked them to do and it doesn't feel right and the productivity is off after you've given it some time, go back to what is right for you. It's different for you.
So you're getting
And
the
that
spirituality of it all. Then
that's
each
right.
like,
It's really about being, honoring yourself.
right?
I know people who wouldn't, when they're home, they're in their pajamas and they work in their pajamas and that's all they do and they crank it out.
Yeah,
They crank it out. And there are other folks who just, they have to get dressed up and that's a wonderful
yeah,
thing. Okay, now I see where we're going. Got it. When I wrote this, by the way, and this was last actually 2011 when I wrote this. It was one of those pieces that I wrote when I was even struggling with my own intuition. So I was realizing I had stopped listening to my intuition for a very short amount of time. It was only for a few weeks. I was away in my head and I sat down and this just bubbled out of me. It just came out. And the one thing about, um, this was with Mishi Bag. You're talking about a product
right.
that I was representing at that time, which was called Mishi Bag. And the wonderful thing about the Mishi Bag is it was an interchangeable product, which I was using as a model when I was teaching change management. And the one thing about listening was when you really listened to people, you knew exactly what cover looked best on that Mishi bag. But the listening piece was absolutely critical. And I loved it. And I loved this bag. I loved this bag. And I kept saying, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I don't want to get into another company. I need to stay focused. And when I listened to my gut said, you know what? This sounds like a lot of fun. Go for it. And when I did, it was like my body just released. I went, ah. And I remember thinking that what it represented to me, and that's what I wrote in number two, ask the hard question, what do you desire? The questions that I asked myself was, what does Mishi Bag represent to me? Why do I love it? Why was I uncomfortable taking it on as a product line? Well, what Mishi Bag represented to me was changeability, flexibility, and beauty because it was a very beautiful piece of it was a very innovative product. It is a very innovative product. Why do I love it? Because it gives me flexibility and stability at the same time. Everything was in a single bag, and all I needed to do was change the cover to match my mood. It matched that. The third question, why was I uncomfortable taking it on as a product line? I wasn't clear that I wanted to get into uh, selling a product like this. That was something that I actually struggled with for a little bit. And what would happen if I merged it into my business? Well, what ended up happening is it started to take over. I was with the company for about 15 months. And what I realized was I wasn't having fun anymore because it was taking me away from what I really wanted to do, which is exactly what I do, which is my coaching and my training with professionals. So I did meet a lot of professionals. I did use the bag when I did do my professional development programs, but it was taking me too far away. So what was interesting was that fear, quote unquote fear, actually did become a reality towards the end of it, 15 months later. Now, what lessons do I learn that I wanted to share with my followers and working with this product? And that is that product came to me, and it was really about listening to my gut, listening to my heart, listening to what felt right in that moment. And working with Mishi Bag was brilliant. I had so much fun with that product. I had so much fun using it as a prop. You know what it's like to have a bunch of men in a room teaching change management and you throw a handbag in the middle of the table and say, okay, go find covers that demonstrate what you look like, what your team looks like now and what you want it to look like later. It's a lot of fun to do that. Believe me, they look at you like you've got three heads on your shoulders. Well, let me tell you, it was a blast. And the next thing is, what is the bottom line? What is the symbolism in all this? And again, the symbolism for me, again, was demonstrating the flexibility with stability. People say, well, if you're flexible, you're not stable. Well, that's not true. There's a core part of you that will always be stable, but it's about being flexible around you and listening to the things that come to you that allow you to grow within that stable place and to become better and better every single day. And with lesson three, it was about truly listening to myself and accepting the answers. And what I wrote here was it was about change and freedom. And it is about change and freedom. That bag was all about change. And it gave me the freedom to be who I wanted to be in that moment by being able to change the covers without having to change the inside. And that freedom is my number one value. And it really did give me a lot of value. And there were different sizes, and I was able to play. And it mirrored a concept that I teach called shiftology. Shiftology is the art of elegant and graceful change. And this bag represented that. So in all of my coaching and in all of my presentations, all of my shiftology tools include the disc in communications. It includes the coaching. It includes, the cards. It includes all different kinds of things that I use to help people become the best that they can be. All about shiftology. And this bag at that time was one of the pieces. The last piece, lesson 4 is about stepping into joy. When I finally listened and trusted my intuition about, yes, I'm going to become a part of this company, I was so joyful. I had so much fun. And when you're having fun, people naturally gravitate to you. It's the law of attraction. When you're in a joy place, it's just people want to be with you. And as I say here, for weeks, I kept telling the whole world about this product. And when I finally told my sister and my husband I was going to do it, both of them looked at me like, duh, we knew you were going to do it. You just hadn't come to the conclusion yourself. So I wasn't listening to myself. It was like I had to talk things through. My sister knew, my husband knew. They saw the passion in me. But I was too scared to take that step. And a lot of people just need that push to cross the line and honor that place that makes them happy. Sometimes we're scared to be happy. We're so stuck in what we know. We're scared to go on to the other side and risk happiness.
Yeah, that's scary. You're right. You're so used to sometimes not being in a happy place. You want to stay there, unconsciously maybe, but yeah, I agree.
And the other thing is, the last part I talked about here was discovery. It's easier, because this is what we know, to run away, row upstream, and avoid what our intuition tells us, and live in the land that we already know.
La La Land, I call it.
I think it's easier. It's not easier, because when you get into the rowboat and you let go of the oars, the stream is just going to take you naturally downstream.
So it's good to be an uncharted. It's good to be an uncharted. It's good to be open to be open to uncharted waters, because they actually. Well, I'm doing metaphoric stuff, but what you just said, it kind of made sense to me. It's shifting our mindset.
Without question.
Yes.
It is about shifting your mindset, because when you shift your mindset, your entire body begins to vibrate differently. When your words, and this is what happens when you create results. Your words, whether positive or negative, create your thoughts. Those thoughts are either positive or negative. And those thoughts then create the vibes, which are either positive or negative. And those vibes lead to your results.
Right. Terry, we're going to take a 1-minute commercial break from our sponsor, PsychicAccess.com, but we'll be right back and carry on. Thanks.
A new era in psychic services has begun. PsychicAccess.com. You can connect with our psychic advisors by telephone or chat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All of our psychic advisors are interviewed, fully verified, and accuracy tested, assuring you quality service. We're living in some very troubled times right now. More and more, the world's problems are affecting us on a personal level. You don't have to deal with this alone. Our highly accurate psychics, caring advisors, and talented mediums can help with situations you are currently experiencing and can let you know what the future may hold for you. All new customers get a free 6-minute reading. All you have to do is register. Why not visit us now and get a free reading at psychicaccess.com.
Okay, we're back with wonderful Terry, and she's talking to us about some wonderful things that I feel, this is just what I know, that we all can relate to in any kind of business and anything's going on. And that's why I wanted to do this show. So Terry, where were we at?
Well, we were talking about going downstream, putting the oars in and just allowing yourself to go downstream. And just getting out of the way, getting out of your own way.
And shifting your attitude.
It's a lot easier said than done. And I recognize that.
Well, yeah, because you've been through it. That's why I said it's funny because, I help people as well. And boy, it's easy for me to say, but I do know what you say is so true. And about the self-sabotage. And it's easier sometimes to do that. It's part of it. It's called breaking the cycle, or shifting the attitudes is how I guess it would be. Putting that shifting attitudes.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things about shifting your mindset is you see mindset in families, and what's interesting is when you really start to look, whether it's a family, and I call corporate America, I call a business a family also. When you look at the businesses, or when you look at a family itself, and you look at the behaviors, look at the diseases that manifest, the illnesses that manifest, and you're going to start to see patterns. And the patterns all come from repetitive behaviors. So you may have a parent or parents who have certain ways of thinking, and they end up with certain diseases, and then their kids end up with the same way of thinking and end up with the same diseases. And what you find is once you start to break these patterns, these cycles of mindsets, and ways of thinking to healthier ways of mindsets and healthier ways of thinking, their health begins to skyrocket. Their health begins getting better and better all the time. So when we break these patterns of negativity, of negative mindsets, and I call it the negativity virus, when you can heal yourself of the negativity virus and shift into the positivity virus, you spread, negativity spreads as fast as positivity spreads. They're both viruses. Which one feels better, the negativity side or the positivity side? So I don't know about you. I'm going to go to the positivity side. And to go to the positivity side, that means stop reading the negative stuff in the newspaper, stop doing bang-em-up video games, stop watching negative TV. I mean, we start watching my husband loves watching the news. And I look at him, I said, I have to leave. This is just too negative for me. I don't want that in my world. I don't want that negativity in my world. I don't want it to affect my energy. And when you stop bringing that negativity into your sphere, you're going to see that your mindset changes again. Again, your words create your thoughts create your vibes create your results. So you start to attract more positive things and more positive things and more positive things. And it's about story. If you keep talking about your illnesses all the time, hello, you're going to keep getting sick.
Yeah, I've been doing that a little bit too much lately. My co-host and executive producer could say yes to that. And you're very, very right about that. And like I said, I don't use the word believe. All I know is what I know. And that's exactly right. And like you said, you'd rather stick with the positive rather than negative. But sometimes it's so easy to stay stuck in the same old attitude or tape as the negative. You're used to it. It's comfortable, isn't it?
Well, let me share this with you. I was physically handicapped until I was 39. And in my younger days, in my youth, I was constantly talking about my illnesses. Oh, my sinuses. Oh, my stomach. Oh, my this. Oh, my that. Bum, bada, bum, bada, bum, 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 bum. On and on and on. Well, I found out I had a lot of food allergies, which didn't help. And I found that out in my 30s. But then what I realized was all I ever focused on was my poor health, my poor health, my poor health, my poor health. Good Lord, no wonder I was so sick as I was. And the more I started focusing on positivity and health and realized that the more I kept talking about this stuff, the sick, sicker I was getting, I stopped talking about health, period. I really did. I stopped talking about bad health. Rarely do you hear me talk about bad health unless I'm trying to help a client heal. And I talk about feeling good. I focus on feeling good. And when people start talking about their health and they start comparing notes, I walk away because I don't want to handle that. And I just don't even want to go there. I'm like, hey, can we change the subject? And I do. I try to change the subject because it's your story. When your
Mm.
poor health becomes your story, your words create your thoughts create your vibes
Mm.
create your results.
And your business goes under.
you know,
Yeah.
so
You know, I wanted to ask you about the tools, some of the tools that we can use in order. I know, like, it's easy to say let's shift everything and all that, but for people that are in business and so on, all sorts, even if they're solo or
mhm.
corporate or managers or all of that. What can what kind of tools can I know this we don't have a lot of time, but what kind of tools can you throw out? Like, can we use to try to? I know these things don't have shifting our attitudes don't happen overnight, but any
Right.
exercises that we can do or write on paper,
Sure.
something like that.
Well, one of the things that I recommend, if you go to my website, by the way, and sign on for my newsletter, you can download a pictograph that teaches you how to do a stress management piece on with decision making. And it has to do with breathing, focusing, and it's actually an exercise that walks you through making a decision. And so that's one tool that I can offer you. So if you go to www.heartcenteredsuccess.com and just put your email and your address in there, you can download that tool.
That's
And
fantastic.
okay,
And we,
another
yeah, and
tool.
we will have. I just want to let everybody know, even if you didn't catch that, we on your guest page, everybody, we have the link to her heart center success.com on there as well. Just
Okay.
saying. Okay, sorry,
I,
Jerry.
well, no, that's right. Another tool to use is law of attraction. Learn as much as you can about law of attraction. As I said, I'm certified with Michael Loge, and I teach law of attraction with everything. I've been teaching law of attraction for 8 years. And even at the university that I teach at, I don't get into talking about when I'm talking about either values or if I'm talking about communications. Law of attraction is always an undercurrent on it. So learn as much as you can about law of attraction. And Michael's book is excellent. It's called Law of Attraction by Michael Loge. It's an excellent book that's written in a workbook format that is very, very easy to understand and read. Um, Another tool, EFT, tapping. You can go to YouTube and type EFT or tapping.
Yeah,
There are videos and videos and videos and videos on different people teaching tapping
tapping. Yeah,
on
I was
different
doing some of
techniques.
that. Interesting. Can you tell people what that is? I mean, would you mind
Sure.
telling us?
Yes, I am a third level EFT coach. I love tapping. Uh, Again, also known as EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Actually, we're at the end of the big telesummit, tapping telesummit that's run by Nick Ortner. It has become a huge, huge worldwide, I want to say phenomenon. It's been around for for about, I want to say about 15 years, maybe a little bit longer, and was created by Gary Craig. And tapping is acupuncture without the needles. You use the same meridian points as you use with acupuncture, except you just use the pads of your fingers and you touch 3 or 4 times on each of the points. And so the points are the inside of the eyebrow, right on either side of the bridge of the nose, the outside of the eyebrow where the temple is, under in the bone right under the eye, right directly under the pupil, right under the nose, in between the lip, upper lip, and the nose, right in there. Then the cleft of the chin, And then in the collarbone area, there's a hollow part. You tap in there. And then if you touch on the side of on your sides, there's a sore spot that's right underneath the area where a woman's bra is. We hold a lot of our emotions there. And another point is on top of the head. These are just a few points. There are many others, but these are the ones that are most commonly used. And when you focus on a issue and you start to tap on these issues, we usually do 3 rounds. Those of us who practice this, the very first round focuses on the negative, second round focuses on negative and positive, and the third round focuses on the positive. So say someone has a fear of heights and you want to help them heal that fear. You start to tap on the karate. There's another point which I didn't discuss, the karate chop point. You have one hand, say your right hand taps on the karate chop point, which is right underneath the little finger, for those of you who don't know what the karate chop point is. So right underneath the little finger on the side, it's that point that your hand is parallel to the table, for example. And you tap on the side of your hand with the other hand, and you use set of phrases there. And as you talk, we would say, even though I have a fear of heights, I accept myself completely. This fear of heights is really getting in my way because I don't like airplanes and I don't like going up skiing, and I really like to ski and I would like to get past this fear of heights, and so on and on. And then once we're done on the karate chop point, we move through the points that I was talking about earlier, and there's different statements that we say at each point. So that's how easy it works. And what it does is it heals the emotion that is surrounding a specific event. It doesn't take away the memory of your event. It just dissolves the emotion. And it works very quickly. And we use it for post-traumatic stress syndrome. It's being used a lot right now in Newtown, Connecticut, with the kids and the first responders and the people who are there. The people who are running the EFT, the tapping cell telesummit right now, are from Newtown, Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
Ironically.
Yes.
And the work that they are doing with the children, the adults, and the first responders is extraordinary. So I find it mind-blowing that these international people who are involved with tapping, the Ortners, happen to live in the town that that happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was doing it. There YouTube. There's some great things on the tapping, and also as far as deliberate attraction from what Michael. I went to those YouTube, and that's where the tapping. Whenever I'd start feeling my mind was going elsewhere, like I wanted deliberately. I did my intention on my paper and everything. But tapping also is good for when you start going, not being able to shift. Well, being aware that you're not your thought. You're not. Isn't that what it's also used for? You tap
You
to
can
make
use
sure.
tapping for everything.
Keep yourself
I've
intact.
used it to literally. I use tapping for just about everything, from getting frustrated that I did something, or I actually cured my own fear of heights, as a matter of fact, using tapping. The headaches, I use it for. Oh my gosh, anything and everything that you can imagine. Whether it's illnesses, whether it's frustration over the car breaking, whether it's trying to calm down because some guy just cut me off.
Yeah.
It just just even sitting outside and tapping because it's such a beautiful day and I want to make sure that it's in every cell in my body. I'm tapping, saying, "Oh, thank you," and just as much as I do Reiki, because I'm also a Reiki master and I bring the Reiki through, I use the tapping even more than I do the Reiki, because the success and it just moves faster for me.
Right. It's hands-on. No
So I
pun
use it for, I literally use it for everything.
Terry, I wanted to ask you also about the networking. We have about 10 minutes. Oh, well, five minutes. I want to make sure I cover everything with you. And
Sure.
So I wanted to ask you about the networking and not being able to change your shifts, because a lot of people are afraid of approaching other people for networking. I feel, well, I'm not saying all people are like that, but I feel, is that true? Do you think?
Well, yes, they do. I actually have a course called Transformational Networking. And what I find is that you've got folks who are, for example, holistic. I'm going to go with holistic practitioners. Holistic practitioners hate networking, and they just hate networking. I don't like to use the word hate. They really are uncomfortable
Dislike.
with the networking. Okay. And a lot of it is because you don't know how. Plain and simple. You just don't know how. Doing something like learning how to do a handshake. Last week I was at an event and this woman gave me this flimsy little handshake, and I'm looking at her going, oh, this is just not going to work. And I said, come on, I teach networking skills. And I taught her where to put her name tag. I taught her how to shake hands. I taught her how to look at my face. I taught her how to say her name clearly. In about 60 seconds, I had her so turned around and she looked at me. She said, oh my gosh, that feels so good. Shaking. And I watched her shaking hands with people, and she didn't even realize that she was so hunched over. And all the time. And I said, you know what you're doing is you're compromising your credibility when you with this kind of body language. So we talked about body language for a few minutes. And it was a very powerful moment for me because then I found out that this woman had had surgery that was impacting her mindset. And when she didn't even realize how she was presenting herself. So when I started working with her on it, I found out, and I just found this out last night, I'd given her so much courage and she feels so much better about herself because I took the time to teach her how to do that.
Another great tool.
Exactly. She didn't know. And by the way, you wear your name tags on the right side of your body, not
And
on
should
the
it be
left.
above your boob? On your
Yeah,
boob, no.
on the right side of your body, because you shake hands with your right side. Is when you shake hands with somebody, they go, their eyes go right up your arm to your name tag,
Right.
right to your face, instead of having to go straight across your body.
Yeah, it's a simple, that's a very good point. And it's simple as just doing that. And a lot of times I rip my name down. So no, you shouldn't do that. But I, we have a few minutes left, and I wanted to ask you: is there anything that's going on with you new that I didn't cover? Because and I know you have a book. Don't you have a book
Yes,
coming?
yes. Well, and actually that leads into what's new. The book came out. It's called Unlock the Power of You. It's myself and 11 other professionals. And it's just a really, really cool book. And a lot of it has a lot of law of attraction. And because of the book, I have a retreat that is going to be from the 14th of March to the 17th called Unlock the Power in You. And it's where business and spirituality meet. And it
Oh,
is
that
going to be
sounds
sponsored by
fantastic.
Coffee with Terry. And it's again it's a 2.5 day retreat. Thursday night on the 14th is going to be a big networking event that's open to the public. So I want everybody who is there to be able to meet other people and really network well. There's going to be a little mini expo that's involved with those folks who are sponsoring, as well as the people who are participating. So it's going to be here in Newport, Rhode Island, and the website for that is www.unlockthepowerinyou.com.
Now, can they find that link also on the heartcentersuccess.com? Do you have that
That
link on
it
there?
will be on there tonight.
Okay. Oh, great. Okay,
It,
so then everybody,
it
because
will be on there tonight. That's one thing that in putting all this thing together, we missed. Hello.
that's okay. And also, so as far as the unlocking the, well, the book in March, can that be, is that going to be on Amazon or?
The book actually is on my website. Right now, we are in the process of getting it on Amazon. So
Great. So everybody
that's
can we
exciting.
well that's something that's fantastic. Well, and congratulations to you, Terry. Well, anything else, Terry, you'd like to say before I say goodbye to you? It's been great.
Yes,
I've been
we
really
have another book coming out very soon called Success in High Heels, and it will be
Oh,
myself, 29 other women.
I
And
like
my
that name, Success in High Heels, and Brenda, who's on my co-host, her and I are both girls of shoes.
there you
That's
go.
true. This is going to
And
be interesting.
yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And there's 30 of us. I wrote the chapter on law of attraction, and everybody has a different topic. and Success in High Heels.
Fantastic. And so when will that be out? When will that be?
It will be out in March.
Oh, both of them in March. Springtime's in the year.
Well, my book is actually out. I actually have 500 copies in my garage right now.
Oh,
We're just now getting it into Amazon, and so it's taking a little bit of time to get that up there. So the book is out. You
that's
can order
great.
it through me right online and off of my website, heartcenteredsuccess.com, if you would like that. And the other book is, I'm not quite sure how they're going to be doing it, but it's one day. It's 30 women, one day in the 30 days each of us it's going to have a turn. And then the book is going to be coming out the end, I believe it's the end of March. It's going to print next week.
Oh, congratulations. That's fantastic. That's great. And I really appreciate you coming on and interviewing here. And I was really looking forward to the show with you and everybody. Also, I'd like to bring up again, well, on your site, also, we have on your guest page. I have had listened to your radio. You're on hiatus, I know right now, but it is good, everybody, and you can listen to some of the archives over there. It's on Tuesdays, right, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so, Terry, thank you for joining me, and take care. And I really appreciate you coming on with all your insight and knowledge. You're fantastic.
Well, thank you. I have had so much fun with you. You are brilliant. You asked such great questions, and it was a blast. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks, Terry. Thank you, and have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Hello, my name is Res Miranda. If you're having relationship, career, or life issues, I'm inviting you to experience what it's like to have access to professional, highly accurate psychics and spiritual advisors you can trust to care and help you. Register now to get your free 6-minute reading by telephone or chat. Get answers, get access, psychic access, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. PsychicAccess.com.